So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Workforce Wednesday webinar. My name is Kirsten Bayer with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. I'll be your moderator and technical support for today's session, and I will later be joined by my colleague, Sarah, and she will be joining us shortly. So you can feel free to reach out to either of us if you have any issues during the session. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We're joined today with our presenters, Natasha Telger and Paula Berry. Can you guys still hear me?
I can now. It was
Yes.
just a second there you cut out.
Okay, oops, I apologize for that. And so we are joined by our presenters today, Natasha Telger and Paula Berry. They will be presenting on this information. Before we get started with them, though, a couple housekeeping items. This session is being recorded and it will be up on our Illinois Workforce Academy website as well as Illinois WorkNet within about 48 hours. Thank you, Rory, for that feedback in the chat. And then the slide deck is available to you all. We had a minor edit on it, so we will put that out for you all as well, and then we'll update it as needed. And then there will be a follow-up survey for feedback. We'll put that in the chat towards the end of the session, but we really appreciate any feedback that you can give us about any of the Workforce Wednesday webinars or this session individually. We welcome that feedback. We do have live transcript and closed captioning on for your accessibility or note-taking purposes, so feel free to turn that on. And I'm going to start us off with our polls. So Paula, if you want to go to the next slide. Our first poll for our Workforce Wednesday analytics that we would like to know this afternoon is just where are you joining us from? So where's your local area within the state? So we'll give everyone a couple more seconds to answer this poll. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and end the poll and share the results. Most of you are joining us from Central Illinois today, so I'm joining you from Central Illinois as well. So welcome, everyone. I'll stop sharing that one, and then we'll do our next poll, which is just what is your role in the WIOA system? Give everyone a couple more seconds for this poll as well. Okay, I'm going to end that poll, share the results. So most of you are joining us obviously from Title I or you're a local board staff member, other WIOA partner stakeholder. So welcome everyone. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us on this training. I'm going to hand it off to Paula and Natasha to start off the presentation. Again, the session is being recorded and I'll put the website for the slide deck and where the recording will be housed in the chat right now. Thank you. So Paula, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, I'll hand it off to you.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I see most names I'm recognizing, and most of you will recognize me from all of the performance and reporting webinars we've been presenting. I'll let Natasha Telger go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Natasha Telger, Associate Director with SIU Center for Workforce Development, and we are part of the Illinois WorkNet team.
Thank you, Natasha. I'll start out our presentation today by going ahead. We'll go over our agenda for today. So the takeaway for today is to find out about a new WIOA Approved Training Search tool called ProPath. What is ProPath? Then Natasha will take over for the majority of the presentation to give a demonstration and a comparison between the current tool and the future tool, and then go over some next steps, how we're moving forward with this new tool called ProPath. So what is ProPath? ProPath is a search tool that is named ProPath, and it's essentially the tool that will be used to bring to life and handle all the information about our training providers and programs on our Etpl, and it goes further into credentials, just to bring to life more information about all these providers and programs that we have vetted and approved eligible for WIOA funding, and the programs that we see on our Etpl. It's mainly an enhancement. It's powered by the Credential Finder, or as you'll hear about, a credential and registry. So we're getting a national or even global database of information with this. You'll still be able to search for all of your approved training programs by training program name. There's some new terminology here. Natasha will cover that, but our training programs are called learning opportunities. In the new ProPath tool. Training providers will be identified by organizations, and then you'll have a search filter that's for credentials. You'll still be able to filter and narrow your results by LWIA or location, by all the occupations. Those are the stop codes, or what you're familiar with is the ONET codes related to those DODL approvals, instructional programs known as SIP codes, and then learning delivery types, and a lot more, as you'll see when you start to use the tool and see Natasha's demo. The tool's still going to allow you to view very high level information, like gleaning information, like an overall cost, time, learning methods, how you're in the classroom or is it online. All of this information is there. You're going to be able to view even deeper details about all the programs and the provider information itself. And then there's still a great comparison tool, so someone can compare programs and the information under them side by side. And then, of course, you'll still be able to find all the locations of the trainings and providers on a map or in a list. Oops, sorry. So why are we moving to this new ProPath framework? So why are the state and others embarking on this endeavor? And it's mainly because ProPath is going to be able to identify critical information gaps systematically. And what do we mean by this, and why is it important? So the ProPath tool, like we said, uses information from the credential registry, and it's basically an opportunity to move forward with new, more robust information, and it's going to modernize the way we can find and see all this data about education and the credentials we need for our participants. It's helping us to figure out what is missing so we can be sure that we're providing complete and accurate information about all the providers and their training programs and the credentials that are tied to them. In addition, as we call, you hear ProPath as a tool. It is a tool to be used side by side in career planning. And a goal of ProPath is to assist in the way career planners are developing an IEP or ISS, the individual employment plans for adults and service strategies for youth, and how you can use these assessment results, like personal information of your participants' interests and suitability for their career planning and trainings that they want to go into. And this will, in turn, always ensure that their goals are part of career pathways. And they can be easily identified as you set these goals and objectives. It's going to be, like I said, the tool. It's going to be a tool for effective career planning. That's a goal. we should be able to identify these pathways in a little clearer way. So that is one more reason we're moving towards this tool. There will be more information right there in front of us at the time that career planners and participants are sitting down with each other in person, going through a really detailed and involved and thoughtful process. Another thing ProPath will do, it's going to address limitations in all the available information and data that we have for post-secondary education and workforce training opportunities. You know, like Natasha will demonstrate, ProPath is just the starting point. And as we're moving more towards online and a virtual world, it's going to be able to identify training opportunities that exist outside of Illinois. It's global data from the Credential engine. And this is going to further expand training and career opportunities for all of our participants. There'll be reciprocity that will provide even more choices for the participants, like with our reciprocal agreements. We're going to get more data across the board. If it's not national, it's global. So we're collecting information across the whole country. We're going to be able to see information from out-of-state providers as we vet them to make sure our participants are getting the most valuable training opportunities. It's providing more up-to-date and real-time information from training providers and training programs, which is essential in making these decisions. It will implement its administrative data system improvements and understanding of program outcomes. This goes with a footnote, and this has to do with performance, provider performance. ProPath will capture information that's most appropriate for educational and career pathway decision-making. It's going to shed some light on how pathways fall into an occupation goal. And this will come to light in Natasha's demo and your future use. But all this enhanced data and information is going to help career planners in the real world explain to a participant, for example, expectations of enrolling them into programs, receiving WIOA funding, and all these different methods of learning, for example, that work better for each participant. Even a location can make a huge difference. So this is what we want to bring to light here, moving forward and modernizing these searches. And then, as we all know, regarding the Illinois Etpl, Eligible Training Provider List, there are rules around it. There's rules and guidance, and it is WIOA law that we disseminate information about the Etpl that we gather very clearly. And ProPath is also addressing a U.S. Department of Labor monitoring finding that was related to our statewide Etpl. We need to do a better job of highlighting various methods of instruction that's given by all of our providers, and then make sure that consumer choice is improved and everyone has access to this information and everything that Illinois has included on the Etpl. So with that said about ProPath, I will hand it over to Natasha Telger. Here is some new terminology. I already pointed this out, but in ProPath, you will all see, and you'll hear Natasha, learning opportunities is replacing what we know as our training programs. They're still training programs, but they're called learning opportunities. Organizations in ProPath is replacing training providers in our search. And Credential Finder is a term that you're going to hear, and it's just a new tool for exploring all of the information that's published by the Credential Registry. So that's what I'm talking about, how we're getting this across the board, national, global data. So now, with that said, I'll turn it over to Natasha Telger. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So I don't know if Paula, I'm not sure if you have to stop sharing, if I need special access to share my screen. Okay, yes, I do want to continue.
I stopped sharing.
There we go. All righty. All right. So first of all, I was thinking about how to show you, compare the current version of the search that we have available on Illinois WorkNet. So for those of you that are not familiar with how to access the WIOA Approved Training Provider search, one of the ways to do this is by going to our menu, go to Training and Credentials, go to the WIOA Approved Training Program search. And this, as we start our soft launch, will be the place where you can access the new search as well as the old search. So we're not just going to go, boom, here it all is right here. Put it on your lap and not giving an opportunity for feedback and to get used to the new search. But we will make both of those available. So we'll start out with, providing a link to the new search. We're going to update the text on this page, and you can still access the existing search. So if you're new to our search that's currently on Illinois WorkNet, this is just a brief overview of the search criteria or options, I guess you could say, as well as what the display looks like and so forth. So currently, as Paula mentioned, you can search by training programs, you can search by training providers, you can search by WIA, you have a keyword search, you can search by job families, which are related to the occupations. You can, I want to make sure I just left it wide open here. You can search by zip code or a city, and you can search by different training program types, and you can control, like, the different ways to sort the information on the page. Whenever you go into, you see your search results, you'll see that we have a map view. So if I click one of these, it's going to take me to that particular location that I clicked to on the pen. And each of these has a similar display. Let me go down to one that has some performance data. So you can see, we have the cost, time, goal, type, and then outcome data. And so I believe the outcome data is only displayed if we have over 10 participants in that particular program. So the whole idea is that you can see a flash of information easily on this search. And if you drill down into this, you can see additional information. I'm going to close that. We do have a compare. I'm just going to select two that are right next to each other and go to compare. And you can see that we have the information right next to each other. So that's a high level overview of the current search that we have on WorkNet. And again, this is strictly the WIOA Approved Training Program search. So as Paula mentioned, with ProPath, there's just so much opportunity, and we're really just barely scratching on the surface right now. We're really going through like the soft launch so we can get feedback. And then we'll go ahead and then we can start to really dive into some of the other ways that the system can use data as we move forward. But you have to start somewhere. So we're definitely starting first with our Etpl list. So the new search is in ProPath, which is uses the credential finder, which accesses all the information in the credential registry. So what we've done is we have taken the information that is in our old search, our current search, and that information has been translated, aligned to, translated, maybe that's the best word, map to, maybe that's a better word, into the new, I think it's the CTDL like schema, their language that they use to modernize how the data is organized and how it can be accessed to use different things. So the information, the reason why I'm saying this is that the information that was in the search before or is currently in the search is still in the search. It's just organized and labeled in a way, tagged in a way, however you want to call it, so that that data can be used in a lot of different, a lot more uses, let's just say. So it's the same programs, same providers, and just a different look and feel at this point in time. We're just, like I said, just talking about the Etpl. So this is the new look and feel, and one of the things that we have is that it's going to default to learning opportunities. So when you go to this page, let's just do, I think cyber, the one I was using earlier was cyber security and networking. Try that if I typed it right. Yep. Okay, so we have cybersecurity and networking. And what you can see is we have our list view. You can still see a lot of this information. It might use some different terminology. With the credential registry, it's nationwide, actually more like global. And so some of the terminology is used like on a broader scale nationwide. In some of these cases, we might have to get used to some different terminology like learning opportunities. In other cases, there will be, I'm sure, more flexibility in the way that, if we get your feedback and we need to change some of the terminology that's used, then, we can address that as we go, because again, this is just a soft launch. So as you go through this new look and feel, you'll see little things like you can show less, you can show more. If I click on financial assistance, it's going to give me, we call them pills. I believe they call them buttons. I've heard the term used interchangeably. If you want to see the estimated costs, you can see the different costs. If you want to click on it, it'll drill down to more. Same thing to show this has outcome data, time estimate. So you can still easily access all that information in one place. It's just a little bit different look and feel. If I go to the map view, I can, again, you can see the map. So let's say maybe I'm in, let's see, Southwestern, let's say I'm in Southern Illinois area. So I want to look at, compare a few things in Southern Illinois. So I'm going to click on this one and, oh, it's right here. I'm just going to click compare. And let's see, there's another one that's not too far away. And that's the John A. Logan. So I'm just going to hit compare. And you can see that they each of those that I had compared had one location. Looks like I still have some comparison data in here. I'll just take out these. So when you go to compare, some of the things that we're not currently using right now, when you see the, after it's launched, you'll see the things that we're not using right now will be hidden. So it'll be narrowed down to the features that we're currently using as we roll out, and those become available, then you'll see more features there. So we're looking at learning opportunities. You'll see we have the two that I just selected. I hit compare. And again, whenever this is launched, you'll have those other opportunities, other items that will be hidden. I'm going to click learning opportunities so you can see that we can still do the side-by-side comparison like we did before. You can see the estimated cost, time to complete, delivery types. So, you can collect multiple of these. I can't remember the if there's what the limit is, but as you add more and more, you know, you can see a scroll bar and you can just scroll back and forth on those. So I'm going to go back to the search, and I'm going to just go back to our learning opportunities section. So just because I want to show you where to be able to select the other search options. So the next one, we'll just go to organizations, and then let me just grab so you don't have to watch me type. Let's see. Oops, I guess I should have did Southwest. Well, let me just do that instead. Here we'll do, I'm looking at organizations. I could either do that for the search, or I could do Southwestern Illinois College. So I'll go ahead, and you can see Southwestern Illinois College is up here for the organization. That's one of the ones I had looked at and I had compared. You can see again the outcome data, and you can see the different learning opportunities and additional details. If I want to search by credential, let's just say I'm going to do my cybersecurity. ITY and networking. I can see when I was looking for a credential that's related to cybersecurity and networking, you can see a list of the different credentials and the options that, you know, the information that's related to that particular credential. You can see the learning opportunity. Again, that takes us back to that program, that approved program. You can also look at occupational information. So that's another piece of it. And you can also do the compare. Again, you can do your map view or your list view. So let me go ahead and clear this for now. Some of the other features that are kind of nice is you can sort by relevance. So most recent or least recent. So you'll see that there's a last updated date right here. So you can see whenever it was either newly added or newly updated. Maybe if you're even looking for your own program and you want to say, I just made an update. did it update? That can give you your confirmation, your feel good that, you know, you can see exactly when the information was last updated. Again, you know, can sort alphabetically. We have the options to choose how you display. So you can either hide the description, or let's see, or show the description, sorry, or show the buttons only, or show all. And then we have the filters. So again, you're getting the sneak peek. So some of this will be updated. We're still gonna, you know, you'll see some color changes so that it stays consistent with the colors that are currently in the training section of Illinois WorkNet. So there'll be a few little updates there. And let me go to learning opportunity real quick. So I went to learning opportunities, and if I choose filters under learning opportunities, so we see here, you can see there's Illinois WIOA. So you'll be able to narrow down your search results by WIOA still. You have your learning types, so these will be learning opportunities. Subject areas, I'm not sure if we'll leave that one up there. That might be something that's added back in later on. And then we have the learning delivery types. We have blended in person and online. We have occupations, and this is where you would put in your ONET code so that you could find learning opportunities related to that particular occupation. We also, this is a different feature that's not available. I don't think I've not specifically, at least in our existing search, where you can search by zip code. So if you're looking for a specific program by zip code, you can enter that information in there. And then we have some other filters. Some I'm sure that'd be of interest to you would be, cost, duration, financial aid, occupation and outcome data. So you can filter. We'll just take a look at some that have some outcome data. Here, what am I not my? Where's my outcome data? I just had one. Of course. Why are you? Let me go ahead and oops. Well, let me just go ahead and get my page back up and let me get my my sandbox here. And let's do that search again. Has outcome data. There we go. So, and I just want to clarify, I am using what we call our sandbox. You can see up in our sandbox here for our demonstration today. So I'm going to go to an example that has outcome data. I can see that it has outcome data. I could click here and go to that information, as well as like with any of these little pieces, I could click on them to go to the detailed page. So I could do that. I can also select the name of the learning opportunity and go to the detail page. So any of those that you would select, it's going to take you to the detail page. So when you can see it's one that I had compared. And you can go to a link to go to the website that's associated with this learning opportunity. I'm gonna you can click on the outcomes data. Get my things out of the way here. So you can see we have this information, training unrelated employment, training related employment. So that data that we had within our existing search is now also available in this search as well under outcomes data. So you can see we have some other pieces and parts, like the costs, financial assistance, entry condition, the prerequisites. That's what is mainly in the entry conditions. You can see the SIP instructional program. Another thing that's going to be added to this that's not here on this particular screen is the occupations. You'll be able to see the occupation information that's here. So we have quite a few more quite a bit of extra detail that's available. So that is the high-level overview of our search. Does anyone have any questions, or it looks like there's some chat that's been going on? I just didn't.
Yeah, Natasha, there's one in the Q&A and one in the chat, if it's easier for me to read them, or if you
just read them to me, that'd be great.
Okay, so Gabriella said, in the future, would ProPath give us the customer's feedback on the training taken? So it's a good.
That's a really good question. And actually, I will make a note of that. I know I have not been in conversations that have included that piece, but it doesn't mean that they haven't already taken place. So I will ask that question. So that's a good point.
Feedback.
It's like rate my professor. Rate my training program.
Yeah. And then Dina is asking, and Dina is an LWO7 with Career Connect. Where is the credential information when you're searching by credentials? Dina, I don't know. Did you just?
So when you're searching by credentials, let me just see, and just, type in here if this isn't the information that you're looking for, or if I'm misunderstanding. So I'm just gonna look for cybersecurity. So I have cybersecurity and networking. If I go into here, and I don't claim to be a credential expert by any
So you
stretch
click
of the
on the
imagination.
provider name or the organization. You click on the organization or the learning opportunity, and then it drills down to the credential, right? How do you get to that?
Okay, so I did a search for, just let me go back again. So I did a search just for credentials, and then I can look at them, specifically at a credential level, and then it tells me where like these credentials are coming from. If I did a learning opportunity, and I'm just going to stick with my cyber security and networking. And I go into here. This is kind of a new part for me, I believe, as well. Let's see. I believe it's in here. So it's a connection. So it's like I said, the credential registry has a lot of different I don't know, possibilities, I guess you should say. And we're just using just a fraction of it at this moment, but the opportunity to expand the usage is like, there's just a lot. So one of the things that they have here is like, they call it connections. And so relationships between the learning opportunity, which would be the training program, and other data that's in the registry. So right now we would just be using, the learning opportunity, organization, and credentials. And so if you use that connection piece, it tells you like, these are the credentials that are associated with this particular learning opportunity.
Thank you. So, Dina, I don't
Does
know
that,
if that answers.
yeah, let us know if that answers your question or not. And if not, I can always take it back for, get a more comprehensive explanation.
And when they get to go hands-on, when it's available in the next couple of weeks, it might answer some questions, because sometimes I just need to be in a site myself.
Exactly.
There is a question from Rory. He's noticing that it's pulling in programs that aren't only Etpl, WIOA funded eligible training provider programs. But for ProPath, it will be just with Etpl programs that they're searching.
A specific page is searching. There's also a section now to search for post. It's just the post-secondary education search. So I'm just going to go there. So we do have a separate search, and let me just confirm or say, no, you're wrong. So we have the WIOA Approved Training Provider search, and this one is the public-private training provider search. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah, okay, I should have read further. Yes, there's the opportunity. Yes, that is the goal, is to have, instead of the two searches, have the one search where you could search Etpl or other public and private. Wait a minute. However, with this ProPath site, will we be able to select any other kind of filter option when we execute the search to only search? Is there a way that we can have a search? Yeah, so let me just make sure that I am responding and answering your question. So the the search that will be soft launch will only include the ETPL. But, oh, and this is probably referring to the other pieces and parts that Paula was bringing out about like other states and, you know, different opportunities and that kind of thing. So yes, we can, you know, open things up to allow when we expand past the ETPL, then we can open up the search to search for other public and private training opportunities, learning opportunities, you know, within Illinois, and then, you know, and elsewhere, pulling from the data that's in the registry. Okay. Okay, yes, because when we were demoing the site briefly last week, we tried searching for a specific provider and then type for training occupation, and the site produced results of organizations and programs that were not WIOA approved within Illinois in general. Yeah, I mean, if you, oh, sorry, that goes when I was mentioning. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just like reading through these, trying to follow. So Roy, like if there's some example that you could just give me just to make it easier for me to take anything back to our programmer to see which training organization or program wasn't WIOA approved, we can take a look into that. Because we definitely don't want to do that.
Might be easier for you to read them yourself. Sometimes it is. And Dina, and I think we talked about being able to search by occupation title and not just the ONETs too. So it's all being in development too, right?
I'm sorry, say that again. I was reading at the same time you're talking.
Sorry, so Roy will provide an example, and then Dina mentioned it would be good to search by an occupation title or keywords and not just the ONET. It would be easier.
Yes, I would agree. That was going to be one of my feedbacks as well. Feedbacks, that's a horrible way to say it. Yes, but no, I agree. That was going to be my feedback as well to the credential finder, credential registry team. Yes.
So yeah, that's probably going to be wanted across the board. And then Michelle had one in the Q&A, Natasha, and she asked, do WIOA training providers still, oh no, that's Brooke Taylor, hold on. But I will go ahead. Do WIOA training providers still input program information through the IWDS system, or does that change with ProPath? So I'll answer this, Brooke, and currently IWDS is the system of record that you will input the information in, and ProPath is bringing it over. Isn't that correct, Natasha?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to get back to. Okay, and Michelle Griebler is WIOA 20 is saying, is there an option to see all of the pill data collectively in one click, or just have to click on each individual pill, like the button? So that's good.
Yeah, that is a good. Yeah, I'll put that down too. You know, that's a good.
Maybe.
Show all for pill data, and then the other one was search by keyword for SOC code.
Yeah, soccer ONET, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was it for the Q&A that I saw. What period? Oh, Gabriella, I answered one of your questions about that. Yes, there will be a search by WIOA. What period does the performance data cover? And the current search, I believe that was 2 years, but
I think, well, I'm not an expert on this level of information, but I noticed whenever I went to the outcomes data, I don't know, this is what it said. Time save. Oh, that's, I don't know.
From memory, when they were developing the current search, I think that they included 2 years of data, so there would be enough. But this is going back from memory. So Gabriella, we can get back to you on that detail. And then Gabriella is also asking if we can break down the cost information better. For example, there are 2 areas called mixed fees. We have a cap on tuition and fees and books, etc., are separate, and we need to be able to see what is the mixed fees. So yes, and I think Natasha can explain this too.
Right, we did have feedback to break that down into mixed fees. There was another one. They had aligned a couple of them to what's called mixed fees, and that's on we call it our punch list of things that need to be, either changed or another option for what it's called. That's one of the things, Mark had brought up too, so.
And Dina, again, yes, the Etpl certification approvals, the submittal of program information and updates and approval is being done in IWDS, and then it will transfer to ProPath. Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
Gabriella, I see what you mean. So yes, so those where you see the organization or provider name below the program, or as we call it, learning opportunity name, those are clickable. So you can go under or over, and then that's where you get about this organization. If you click on what you call the provider name under the learning opportunity.
Yep. Say I clicked on cybersecurity for that one. And then I clicked on Southwest Illinois College for that. Click and you can see Southwest.
And Rory, yeah, so and Natasha knows about this, and we're tracking this feedback because we realize that if the costs aren't seen, at actual costs correctly by the career planner or even a participant, if it looks like it was over your ITA policy or something like that for the WIOA approved training programs on the Etpl, maybe they would dismiss it if those costs aren't broken out. Correct, Roy. So we've mapped them as best as we could to match the definition with the cost buttons or pills that are in ProPath. So you can compare them from the IWDS field and the program information and get a match over in ProPath. And like Natasha said, so this is like being developed. This is a starting point. There's been a ton done, but we're just making everyone aware of what's to come. Like Natasha said, we're not just going to throw it out there. This is just where it's going. And then yeah, I think Natasha talked about some next steps. So
yes, let me get this up
if
here.
we're ready, there's more questions.
So then our next steps, as like I had mentioned before, we're going to start the soft launch in April, which really means that next week we are going to provide access to the new search tools. And then that way we have the new search tools and then a feedback collection tool. We don't want to we want to put it out there, but we also want to take care of some of the common things that we know are going to come up. So you don't have to, we don't make you tell us about some of the things that are known that we need to have updated. So we'll get the minimal viable product out there and allow you to provide feedback on that. But in addition to that, we'll be conducting user groups. So we'll have groups of career planners, case managers. Would like to have some participants just to get their feedback on how they navigate and what's meaningful to them. So we may be reaching out to you or posting those opportunities. So if you're interested in being part of that user group, you are welcome to let us know that you'd like to be part of that. And then you can just put so in the chat if you're interested in becoming and participating in those user groups. And then again, we'll compile the results, implement the enhancements that we can implement for our first phase rollout. And then we'll put those tools out there so that you can use the new search. And then while that new search is out there, we'll also have, the old search that's available just in case you would like to use it. It would still be there. And then once we get past that, like a soft launch, that transition, then we'll integrate this tool into our other Illinois WorkNet tools, just like the current search is. So you don't have to worry about, everything's going away or everything's changing right away. Again, we truly want this to be a soft launch where we can collect feedback as we move forward and address any of the concerns or any needs that you have during that process.
And Natasha, Maureen is asking, so when we say put it out there, the soft launch would include current participant feedback too within an LWIA user. Is that correct?
Say that one more time.
So during the soft launch, it won't just be LWIA staff. We would include participants themselves.
Yeah. Career planners, managers, participants.
So
and when the thing says when you put it out there, does that mean to LWIA? No. Well, the way that I had planned to put it out there was like literally make it available. But this is our current search page, needs updated, but we could put it out here in a in a sentence. It's like, access the new search, or I don't know, whatever terminology we need to use to say, test out the new search, or something that's available, but it won't be like flashy in your face that boom, it's out there. But at least we'll have a place where people can access it. And then use our feedback collection tool to provide any feedback that they have. We'd like to, like I said, we'd like to get some more of that low-hanging fruit, I guess you could say, cleaned up before we put it out there on that page. And so early next week is whenever we're planning on putting the link out here on the page. Yeah, you're welcome. I was just reading the comment from Marie. Thank you, Natasha, for reassuring us about the fact that there would be a transition period. Kind of in a panic. Yeah, no, that's good. No, we want the conversations to keep going. Our goal is to provide you with, more functionality and, moving towards the way that we can really use this data and moving towards the future. And we don't want to throw you into it. We want to go along with this, together. So, all right. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you don't, then I think we're all finished. You guys can have back the extra time. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked Chris or Kirsten, did you have anything else we needed to wrap up with this?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
What I have left is just to mention that there is a follow-up survey and a follow-up email tomorrow that will come out with all of the recording information, our website linked, and then the follow-up survey. And I did have that. I can go ahead and put it in the chat here if I get it available to everyone, and then you can answer it right now if needed. And I'll put that in the chat, and I think we're good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.